Welcome back to another Premier League predictions video. This is for week 10 of the Premier League, and last week was a fucking disgrace. So many poor performances. Hopefully this week is a lot better. First game up is Leicester and Arsenal. This is a big game for both sides. For Leicester, they had a good win against Brentford last week, away from home, winning 2-1. They did get a bit lucky in that game because their second goal, Brentford were suspect at the back, but a goal's a goal and a win's a win. And for Arsenal, they beat Aston Villa at home 3-1, and that was their best performance of the season. So, good job. But going to this one, this will be a tough game. Either side could win it. I think it'll be a 2-2 draw. Next game up is Burnley and Brentford. This will be a 2-0 win to Burnley. Next game up is Watford and Southampton. This will be a tough game for both sides. Either side can win it. Somehow Watford managed to beat Everton away from home, winning 5-2. I still can't believe that scoreline, and I'm not quite sure how Watford managed to score so many goals in such a short period of time. It makes no sense, but they did it. And for Southampton, they managed to draw 2-2 at home to Burnley. So I think that is a game that they should have won, and they'll be disappointed. It's a missed opportunity. And going to this one, they'll be playing a Watford side that will be high on confidence away from home. So either way, it's going to be a tough game. Either side could win it. I think it'll be a 1-1 draw. Next game up is Liverpool and Brighton. This will be a 3-0 win to Liverpool. Next game up is Man City and Crystal Palace. This will be a 3-0 win to Man City. Next game up is Newcastle and Chelsea. This will be a tough game for Newcastle. They did have a change of manager, and normally you get that new managers bounce, but that isn't the case with Newcastle. They seem to be struggling even more than they were without Steve Bruce, if that makes any sense. And somehow Chelsea managed to beat Norwich last week 7-0. I say managed because I never predicted that scoreline. I know Norwich are struggling this season, but Chelsea never really scored that many goals in the game because I guess they never put their chances away. But at the same time, they're a team that control possession and don't really seem to, I guess, score that many goals. But going to this one, I think they'll take their chances again, like they did last week, and they'll win this one 4-1. Next game up is Tottenham and Man United. This will be an interesting game. Both sides lost last week, but for Manchester United, they were an absolute disgrace last week. They were so bad that I think there was a stat where Manchester United have never conceded 4 goals in a half of football in the Premier League era. So that's over 25 years, which is absolutely shocking. And for Tottenham, they had a narrow loss to West Ham, which, isn't the worst result ever because West Ham have been solid the last couple of seasons. And so it's always going to be a tough game against them. And this season, they've continued to be a tough team to play against. So, either way, I don't think they should be too disappointed by that. But going to this one, anything could happen in this game. We could have Manchester United play well and win this game, or we could have Tottenham, I guess, play well and they could win as well, or both teams could play badly. I'm not really too sure how this game is going to go, but I think this will be a 3-1 win to Tottenham. Next game up is Norwich and Leeds. This is a massive game for Norwich. I was going to say Leeds. Actually, this is a massive game for Norwich, but it's also a massive game for Leeds. Both teams are really struggling this season to pick up points, and one of the reasons why is because both teams are shocking defensively, but also they're really struggling to score goals. This wasn't an issue for Leeds last season. They really had no problem creating chances and scoring goals, but I think because of the injuries they've had and players going out of form, it seems like things have really dried up. They're not really creating many chances, and they're just really struggling. But also on the flip side, Norwich are in more trouble than Leeds because they're rock bottom. No, excuse me, they're rock bottom on the Premier League table, and they've just gone and lost 7-0 to Chelsea, which is unacceptable. It doesn't matter if you're playing the league leaders or a team in the bottom three. You shouldn't be losing 7-0. So that was a disgraceful performance, and that it was just shocking, and I'm not sure how Norwich win this game. They're not scoring goals. They're not defending well. Leeds win this one 2-0. Next game up is Aston Villa and West Ham. This will be a tough game for both sides. I think Aston Villa were a disgrace last week as well. They didn't do as badly as some other teams, but still, they were quite awful. And for West Ham, it looks like they're having another decent season. They're not scoring too many goals, but they're tight at the back and they're keeping themselves in games. But I think this will be a tough game. Either side could win it. I think it'll be a 2-1 win to West Ham. And the last game of the week is Wolverhampton and Everton. Excuse me. And Everton. This will be another interesting game. Wolves aren't really a team that score a lot of goals. Obviously, they got a point away at Leeds last week, which I think they should have gotten more out of that game because of the form they've been in. So, another missed opportunity. And for Everton, they were an absolute disgrace last week. Absolutely shocking. And I'm not sure how they bounced back from last week because they were winning against Watford with about 15 minutes to go. And then we had that, what can only be described as just a catastrophe. Something that you didn't really predict. As an Everton fan, it must have been, shocking to see that, but also you would have been stunned to see all those goals go in as, you're playing against one of the bottom teams in the Premier League. Well, actually, Watford aren't, before that game, Watford weren't in the bottom three, but you'd expect them to be in the relegation battle towards the end of the season, so not a team that you wouldn't think would cause so many problems, but defensively, Everton were a shambles last week, and I think more of those issues are going to pop up in this game. This will be a 2-1 win to Wolves, and that's about that's about it. Got my throat.